Welcome, Jordan here. What if today was the day that you simply just decided? Many times we spend years, decades, putting off a decision that we know would move us forward, that would accelerate our path, that would allow us to live the life, build the business, and experience the reality that we desire to experience. I'll never forget, a number of years ago, I was traveling. I was living in Spain at the time. I was running my marketing agency, and things were going well. But I knew that there was something that was just not clicking for me. I was staring at my computer 8 to 10 hours a day, sometimes more, 14 hours a day, trying to do all of these different services for the people I was serving. I thought that's just the way things were. It was grind mode, it was hustle mode. And it was just me doing the hard work. And that time was interesting because I learned the disciplines of what it means to build, to grow, to acquire clients, and to cultivate hard work. So it's not a negative experience, but there was something out of alignment. The energy that was driving my business at the time was something that was coming from a deep wounding within me. It stopped me from seeing the light within myself. It stopped me from seeing the truth of who I was. I was putting on a mask. I was performing. I was pretending to be somebody that I thought I needed to be to generate a result. And that time in my life was interesting. I was very alone. I didn't know many people. I was doing my best to go to events, but I would never really connect with the people I wanted to. And around the time I was contemplating whether I should keep doing this or not, I hit a low moment. I was going through a course and they were talking about purpose. The person who was delivering it was sharing a message around your pain being your greatest purpose. And for whatever reason in that moment, I just felt it. Just felt what he said. And from that point forward, I simply decided that I would no longer run away from the pain that I was running from. The pain that had been causing me to unconsciously build something that was not aligned with really what I wanted to do. Or how I wanted to do it, at least, as well. Or the clients I wanted to work with. I made a decision to move to Asia. Within a couple of days, I went to my first coaching mastermind. And I got a mentor, and I got myself in the room with the right people. I simply decided that I would no longer be this version of me anymore. And that kickstarted its own journey of transforming the pain I had felt from the past into purpose, which brings me to where I am today. I share this because many years previous to this, even before I was in business, before I started anything, before I started traveling, when I was working a job, I would spend every waking hour escaping from making the decision to change. I would drink alcohol excessively. I would party. I would scroll on social media. I would avoid responsibilities. I would avoid the decision to lean into what I was being called to lean into. A waste of time. Why is it that we have so much friction to change? Well, if we really look at the reason why, it's because it's familiar. It's familiar to us to be okay with what's going on right now, because at least we can predict it. At least we can predict the misalignment that we're experiencing right now. At least we can predict the hurt that we experience in the relationship that we're in. At least we can predict the pain that we're going to feel at the end of the day. Because it's better, at least in our minds, it's better to experience that and to lean into the uncertainty of what the change might bring. But for someone like yourself who is out here building, creating, striving for more, we often get caught up in this loop as well, where we build something because we think it's the right thing to do, not because it's what we truly desire to do. And we get stuck in the comfort zone as well because it's the familiar. We take the risk into entrepreneurship or building a business or brand, and then we get stuck in the same comfort that we once escaped. And what I've realized from this journey of building anything, it's a constant progression of iteration. It's a constant identity shift. Every week, every month, every year is an identity shift. And it's becoming more familiar with that identity shift is what allows us to truly experience the self-confidence, the self-respect, the fulfillment, the adrenaline that comes from stepping into the uncertainty and embodying the leader that we were here to become. But that's a challenging thing to do because it requires you to lead from the front. It requires you to think differently. It requires you to not follow every piece of advice that you get. It requires you to be different. And by nature, how you're designed, how you're uniquely wired, you are different. You are already your authentic self. To ask somebody, how do I be more of myself, is ridiculous. But oftentimes we are asking others, coaches, mentors, people around us, we're asking for permission to be ourselves. But what if you gave yourself permission to just be yourself? What if you simply decided that you are just going to simply embody who you are meant to be in this world? And that was your path, and that was your choice, and you let everything flow from that place. What would that be like? These transitions that we go through are not always strategic and tactical. Yes, there's those components. There's things that may need to be changed. There's messaging, there's content, there's marketing, there's sales, there's all these different things. But the real transition in anything, when we feel that misalignment, is an identity shift to step into what it truly means to be you at the deepest level. Because you are here to embody a higher octave, a higher level with the people around you. And that calling that you feel is not something that's just in your head. It is your calling from your soul. It is asking you to become, to be more than you currently are right now. That requires an identity shift, a dismantling, a deconstruction of what it meant to be you in the past, and sending that version off with love, with reverence, with pleasure, and saying thank you for serving me. Thank you for being part of my life. Thank you for getting me to where I am today. But from here on forward, I simply decide that now is the time to move. I am ready to move into this calling, this version of me that is calling me forward. What if you simply decided that you're no longer settling for a version of life, a version of reality that is not the best it possibly can be for you? What if you simply decided that you are no longer going to live as a version of you that is not fully you? What if today you simply decided that you are no longer going to be a copy of somebody else or a less better version of somebody else, and instead be the best version of you? Everything starts with a decision. And this is not just with the identity shift, but it's with the decision to change, decision to move. Because you'll never be ready. You'll never feel ready. You're ready after you move. I've noticed this across my life on many, many occasions. The first time I ever spoke in front of a group of entrepreneurs at a mastermind, I wasn't ready. I was ready afterwards. After I did it, I was ready. First time I moved to a new country, I knew nobody. I didn't know how I was going to pay rent. I was ready after I did it. Going and speaking to the people, the connections, the coaches, the mentors that were much further ahead than me in a certain area of life or a certain area of business. I didn't feel ready. I was ready after I did it. And on that journey, The people I once looked up to became a close friend on many occasions. We change our reality, we change our perspective when we move, when we know it's time to move, not when we feel ready to move. And you already know when that time came. So if there's anything I want to leave you with, there is a version of you calling you forward. And yes, there may be some strategic, tactical things to change along the way, but this transition phase that you are in right now is calling you into a higher level of leadership. And that is a recalibration. It's a deconstruction. It's an expansion. And finally, it's an embodiment. And if you want to go deeper into getting support with this, check out the link below. You'll be able to explore what that looks like. Will you be the one who paves the way forward for a new way? Or will you be the one who follows others, slipping into the gray zone of mediocrity? The choice is yours, but I know at the deepest level that you are craving something deeper. Listen to that call. This has been Jordan. I'll see you in the next one.